Rekieta is being sued by Montagraph. And from what I understand, the reason why he's being sued by Montagraph is because Rekieta had a spat with him, and in the spat said, here's what he said from what I was told, that quote, he probably always liked sucking little boy cocks, which supposedly under law cannot ever be a defamatory statement because it has the qualifier probably. He claims that Rekieta claimed that the Umbrella Man was a snuff film, even though I've never seen it. I don't think he's ever seen it. And supposedly it's just an amateur horror movie that trolls claimed was a pedophile snuff film back in the day, but has never been substantiated. And then also called him a faggot, which I think he included as a defamatory statement. So what's happened in the lawsuit now is that Rekieta has failed to dismiss the case early on, because usually what happens is you for instance, you would say that someone sues you for defamation, and then you either try to do what's an anti-slap, a free speech thing, or you try to do a motion for summary judgment, where you basically say, I did say that he probably sucks little boy cocks. I did say that he was a faggot, and I did say that he made a snuff film called The Umbrella Man. However, all of these things are protected under free speech, and there is case law to prove it. So don't bother going through any other motions. Just go straight to the point and make a decision on it. And if that happens, usually in defamation, usually what happens is that the judge will say that the case law indicates that this is a already decided case, that you're innocent of defamation, case dismissed. That's what you hope for. Rekieta did not manage to accomplish that. I don't know what exactly he filed. The judge apparently admonishes him in his response that both Montagraph and him filed very long filings that were not necessarily relevant to the facts of the case. And it has moved on to discovery. So no longer is it a simple matter of hoping for an easy out early into the process. Montagraph can now do depositions where you have people record, interrogatories. And then he subjects himself also to interrogatories from Rekieta's law team. And these things are billable hours. They're very expensive. It's a big pain in the ass. You subject yourself to a discovery request for otherwise confidential information between you and banks and, corporate filings and all sorts of shit. So it's now a big deal. The case is now a big deal from what I understand. I'm not a lawyer, please keep in mind. So this is just sort of how I understand things. The judge said that calling someone a pedophile is per se defamation in Minnesota and makes the case difficult to dismiss, even if the case wasn't well presented. Per se defamation has a distinction in law. You have a usual civil tort, which is that, like, for instance, you say someone's product is defective, and then people stop buying it. And the company can show that every year we have a 20% increase in sales. This year, precisely after the defamatory claim became circulated, we had a 10% decrease in sales. You can then say that 30% gap between what was projected and what was realized is owed to the defamatory statement, and therefore the damage of that amount of sale volume is what is owed as the result of the defamation case. That is defamation. In defamation per se, it means that you called me a pedophile. I can show $0 of damage for being called a pedophile. However, because being called a pedophile is an obviously damaging statement, the case law of Minnesota says that I'm owed random number $100,000 per se, because it's an obviously harmful claim to make about somebody. So that's what that means. It means that even though he can't show damages, he doesn't have to, because Minnesota law prescribes an award. Even if he doesn't, because of the nature of the accusation. Colorado law, which I assume is where Montagraph is living, doesn't apply in Minnesota because Minnesota courts found its own anti-slap law unconstitutional. Okay, so he did try to go for an anti-slap using the Colorado law, which somehow ties in jurisdictionally. And Minnesota says that it doesn't matter because Minnesota had anti-slap, and they said that that's unconstitutional, and probably because of what you saw in Texas with the guy Vic Lasagna. Nick's side also made an unfortunate statement where they said an anti-slap ruling would be a summary judgment. The statement was used against them. The judge passively goes after the filings for both sides as having been so large and yet produced so little material on key legal issues related to defamation, and in particular how Monty was damaged. Indeed, the judge suggests that Monty's side didn't make a great case on facts for the defamation and the damages associated with it. The judge suggests that she would be willing later in the process to reconsider a dismissal if Monty's side can't make a better case. So I guess he's not out of the, if Monty, as far as Montagraph is concerned, he hasn't made his case fully, and if it doesn't get better, then he will be able to dismiss it anyways. But as this goes on, of course, the more filings, every filing is probably at least $5,000. Just from experience, that's probably what he's looking at. And when he was with Mark Randazza is one of the most renowned defamation attorneys in the entire country. He is really expensive because of how his firm is. I'll explain it like this. Randazza is so famous that his court filings have their own font. They have like a proprietary trademark font that they use. Most court filings are going to be in a very specific old style format with Courier as their main font. Randazza is so famous that his filings are in a specific font that he trademarked. So when you want your filings in a trademark font, you got to pay extra for it. I think that Randazza was swapped out for someone less expensive because of how expensive the case is getting. Oh, and Rekieta would like me to correct that Randazza is still his lawyer. I heard that he replaced Randazza with somebody else, so that I guess I was misinformed about that. So I don't know. Sorry, I was just wrong about that.